Mic check, mic check. 1, 2, 3, mic check.
Okay, it's 5 o'clock and we're ready to get started. I'd like to welcome all of you here getting out of the heat and into this wonderful air conditioning for the City of Victorville Planning Commission meeting of July 10th, 2024. I'll call this meeting to order. And can we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Marsh,
Here.
Commissioner Messin.
Here.
Commissioner Thomas.
Here.
Vice Chair Cook Askins.
Here.
Chair Kurth.
Here.
We have quorum.
Thank you. Tonight's invocation will be led to us by Vice Chair Cook Askins and then the Pledge of Allegiance by Commissioner Marsh. If you'll please rise.
Dear Lord, bless our city and bless this meeting. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Please place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next up is general public comments. These would be any comments that are outside of tonight's agendaized items. Do we have any cards?
We do not have any cards. However, we did have one public comment via email that was distributed to the Planning Commission and posted to the website.
We have received that email. Thank you. I will close the general public comments portion. We have a set of two different sets of minutes to approve. These minutes were from our May 8th, 2024 meeting and our June 12th, 2024 meeting. Is there a motion?
I move to approve both sets of minutes. I second that.
I have a first by Commissioner Thomas, a second by Vice Chair Cook Askins. Take a roll call vote. Commissioner Marsh,
Yes.
Commissioner Messin,
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Vice Chair Cook Askins.
Yes.
Chair Kurth.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. And I think right before we move into our public hearing items, I would like to mention at the beginning of the meeting here that I think we've all noticed a bit of a restructuring with our dais up here. If anyone doesn't know, we had a change. Mr. Webb has been assigned and moved up to a deputy city manager overseeing the development department, right?
Yes, thank you, Chairman Kurth. Yeah, I would say development services.
Development services, okay. And Mr. Hadagi has stepped up to Mr. Webb's role as city planner and acting as the planning commissioner secretary, right? And we have Ms. Kawasaki with us, moving up. Congratulations. So I'm glad to see that we still have the whole team here, even with the changes. So congrats.
Thank you.
Move on to agenda item number 2, if we could have the staff report, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. Agenda item number 2 is case number PLAN 23-00024. It is a site plan with an environmental impact report to allow for the development of 3 warehouse distribution buildings totaling approximately 1.35 million square feet on an approximately 81-acre site on 3 undeveloped properties zoned M1 or light industrial. This project is located at the northwest corner of Mojave Drive and Topaz Road. As proposed, the development includes 3 warehouse buildings, and they're going to total 1,351,000 square feet. There are 2 smaller buildings that abut Mojave Drive are approximately 100,000 square feet each, and the building away from Mojave Drive is 1,160,000 square feet in size. Generally, this project complies with Title 16 development standards. There are minor deviations included in the proposal for building height to allow for an additional 2 feet in height to screen rooftop equipment, as well as to increase fence height to sufficiently screen the loading areas of the site. Staff would note that these deviations are in line with previous approvals And with regard to fence height, it does comply with the similarly designed Southern California Logistics Airport specific plan. This project did go through an environmental review for an environmental impact report. This resulted in CEQA findings of fact for the project, in as much as there was three areas: air quality, greenhouse gas, and transportation, which are heavily mitigated to address impacts from those, but they do have unavoidable impacts as proposed. That being said, staff would recommend that the Planning Commission conduct a public hearing, receive testimony regarding the proposed project, and take the following actions: adopt the attached CEQA findings of fact, adopt the mitigation monitoring and reporting program for the project, and certify the final environmental impact report for the Mojave Industrial Park project, State Clearinghouse number 2023110478, and adopt resolution number P-24-037, approving the site plan portion of case number PLN 23-00024, subject to the attached conditions of approval. And while staff does remain available for any questions that the commission may have, I would also note that the applicant's representative is here and has prepared a PowerPoint to be presented to the Planning Commission, should you wish to review that.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions for staff based on that staff report from the commission?
I have a couple. So on conditions 71 and 72, can you please explain what queuing is?
Sure. As it relates to those comments, queuing would be the stacking of the vehicles or the line of vehicles that are waiting to either exit or enter Interstate 15.
And then I believe the report mentions that I think it's a 7 and 9 foot wall will be provided. Is that on both sides is that all around the project or just along Mojave Drive? For the aesthetic.
I believe it is on all areas where there would be loading. So it would be on all the areas where there's loading docks to screen those bay doors from the property, and they are located behind some substantial landscape areas. Minimum, it looks like, is 35 feet in landscaped area where the walls will be placed at the back of.
Okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, if there's none others, then I'll open up the public hearing and I'll invite the applicant's representative up. I understand you have a short presentation.
Perfect. Okay. Good evening, commissioners.
Good evening.
My name is Renelle Candia, and I'm here on behalf of DUDEC, the environmental consultant who prepared the EIR and technical studies. And here with me today, representing the applicant, Mojave 80 Gray LLC, is Mr. Brandon Gallup. And this presentation will be kind of what you already heard, but I will go through it quickly anyway. So the project is sited on 3 parcels of vacant undeveloped land totaling 81.1 acres and is located north of Mojave Drive, east of Onyx Road, approximately 1 mile east of Highway 395. The project site currently has a general plan land use and zoning designation of light industrial. Per the Victorville Code of Ordinances, warehouse storage facilities are a permitted use in the M1 zone. Again, here's a picture of the proposed project. It includes the construction and operation of 3 industrial warehouse buildings totaling approximately 1.35 million square feet. No cold storage is proposed as part of this project. The project also proposes street and roadway improvements and construction of utility and stormwater infrastructure. Given the vacant, undeveloped nature of the project site, both wet and dry utilities, including domestic water, sanitary sewer, electricity, natural gas, and telecommunications would need to be extended into the project site. The project has 7 access driveways, and in the event of an emergency, all the driveways would enable vehicles to enter and exit the project site. All street improvements will be designated with adequate width, or will be designed with adequate width, turning radius, and grade to facilitate access by the city's firefighting equipment. The project's design employs a variety of architectural strategies to create a contemporary, unified, and high-quality business park campus environment. Building elevations include vertical and horizontal elements that would break up the overall massing of the buildings. Building facades would feature a complementary neutral color palette and be similar to other industrial development located throughout the city and the region. Landscaping is proposed for the passenger vehicle parking areas around the portions of the buildings visible from off-site areas and as well as the site's frontages. The landscaping materials along the project frontages incorporate a layering concept to provide different height trees, accent shrubs, and low ground cover. Landscaping is designed to be consistent with the city's municipal code. Here's a very simple flow chart showing the overall EIR process that was completed for the project in accordance with the CEQA guidelines. You can see that a notice of preparation was prepared and circulated in November, and a public scoping meeting was held in December. From there, we prepared the draft EIR and circulated for public review, and that ended June 10th, 2024. We received one comment on the draft EIR from the California Air Resources Control Board, and subsequently responded to that comment. And here we are at the Planning Commission hearing. And should your commission approve the project, a notice of determination will be filed with the county clerk. And last bit here are the project benefits. So the proposed project would be sited in an area already designated for industrial uses. Development of this vacant land would improve the roadway and utility infrastructure in the area. It would also assist the city in maximizing the utility of an already industrial designated parcel to result in city and region-wide economic benefits associated with job creation and economic growth. The project would support temporary construction jobs and approximately 1,100 permanent jobs once constructed. These jobs translate to regional economic growth by way of local spending and indirect fiscal benefits when wages are spent on goods and services, which generate sales tax revenues for the general fund. Development of this project would assist in fulfilling the city's vision for a developed, high-quality business park environment for those wishing to invest in the city. In addition, the project would provide industrial users with much-needed flexible industrial space at a time when market demands for such space are at historic heights. And that completes my presentation.
Thank you. I'll see if there's any questions. Any questions from the commission for the applicant's representative regarding the project?
I have a quick one. An end user hasn't been identified yet. Is that correct?
I'll defer that to Mr. Gallup.
Okay.
Sorry, what was the question?
An end user hasn't been identified just yet?
Not yet, no. So we're moving forward with the approvals and the development on a speculative basis, but obviously with that in mind, we've designed it with, the most flexibility as possible.
Okay. Thank you.
I had one quick question, kind of on that same line of thought. Hopefully sooner than later, you've identified a great user that will take up this footage there and do business in Victorville. But I noticed in our package there was a memo from the California Air Resource Board, the CARB, and they were strongly suggesting that the city would somehow mandate that the user of this building, all the trucks would be electric. I've seen that a couple times. In your opinion, is that even feasible?
It is not, in my opinion. So there are certain things that you can, agree to and certain things that you can't with them, right? So it's probably 15, 20 years off, something like that is actually feasible to have 100% of your truck fleet be electric.
Yeah, when I saw that, I just thought, hey, if a city was to put some kind of condition, that might render your building useless for a long time.
Yes.
Okay, we're on the same page on that.
It makes your jaw hit the floor when you read stuff like that.
Okay.
So.
Any other questions?
Yeah, just one.
And mine relates to truck traffic as well. How many trucks do you anticipate coming in and out of there a day? And I'm asking because I noticed that there's residential across the street from the property and what the impact would be.
What do we have on that? Trip?
I don't know the specific number of trucks coming through, but we did work with the city engineer to ensure that everything was properly mitigated and the fees and improvements that would be required would help mitigate the queuing that could happen in those areas.
You also said that you anticipate 1,100 jobs would be created. Now, is there going to be, I guess, a hiring emphasis here in the city or the region? Or are there going to be people brought in from? I'm sure there'll be some from.
It's regional. Really, it's high desert, right?
Okay.
So,
Okay, so our region.
Yeah. As you guys know, there's a lot of go.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, if I may, there is Cactus will be going to 395 paved as well. And then I should also note that there's a traffic signal to be installed at Topaz and Mojave with this proposal. So there will be some traffic control measures as well.
One quick question I have. As far as the trucks, because within the city right now, we already have a problem with a bunch of trucks that kind of lay over. Is there are the trucks just going to be in and out? Basically, they're not going to be. There's no area for them to just like lay over. Are they going to be waiting, staying there for a day or 2 days or a week or?
Right, it's not set up for overnight trucks. The trucks come in, they drop the load or they receive the load and then they go.
And then they leave.
Yeah, there's no overnight truck.
Okay. Now, in case that there is there the ability for a truck to stay overnight without having to impede traffic or parking along the street, or is?
Well, we've designed it with extra truck parking, but whether that tenant who's in there allows that for their trucks that come in and stuff. But it's been designed with additional truck parking over and above what would typically be required for a large distribution center.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, then if there's no other, did you have a question? No? Okay. Yeah, if there's not another, thank you both.
Appreciate it. Yeah, thank you.
Do we have any cards for any other speakers?
We do not.
Okay, then I'll go ahead and close the public hearing portion of item number 2, and I will bring it back to the commission for any deliberation and a determination.
I guess one of my concerns, although I understand this portion is zoned for industrial and Mojave is considered a major artery, and trucks are allowed to use that main road, assuming because it connects the 1595. Everything leading up to the 15 exit on Mojave up to there is residential with slight pockets of commercial. So seeing the higher volume of truck traffic on there, I think is a concern for me. Also, given that our roads will take a couple of years before they've been repaved and continue to be upkept. And I know the community facilities district is included in that, and the applicant has accepted that condition. That is just personally my concern there.
Okay, if there's nothing else, then I think we're ready for any motion.
I'll make a motion that we adopt item number 2 according to staff recommendations, including number 1 and number 2.
I second the motion.
I have first by Commissioner Marsh, a second by Commissioner Thomas. I'll take a roll call vote. Commissioner Marsh?
Yes.
Commissioner Messin?
No.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Vice Chair Cook Askins? Chair Kurth.
Yes.
Motion passes with Commissioner Messin voting no.
Thank you. Okay, congratulations on that. Now we move on to item number 3, staff.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. Agenda item number 3 is case number PLN 24-00010. It is a final map certificate of correction to recorded track map number 12666-1 with an environmental exemption to replace the street name Squaw Valley Lane with Chuckwalla Lane in compliance with Assembly Bill 2022 on property currently located at Squaw Valley Lane in the city of Victorville. This proposal came about as a direct result of Assembly Bill 2022, which was adopted in September 23rd of 2022, which requires the removal of the word squaw throughout the state of California on all geographic features or places that include the subject word. This bill was adopted largely in the spirit of the U.S. Department of the Interior Order Number 3404, which implemented a similar requirement on federal lands. As a result of AB 2022, staff engaged in the first step of our implementation of this. Staff engaged with 6 Native American tribes that were laid out to us by the state, the California Advisory Committee on Geographic Names. Of those 6 Native American tribes, we engaged with 3 of them actively. One tribe proposed Chuckwalla Lane as a result of them going back to their working group and coming up with a name that honored a local species that was local to the area. Some digging by staff also found out that this was a food source for some Native American tribes historically. Of those 6 tribes, consultation efforts included 2 letters sent via certified mail, 3 separate emails, and 3 separate telephone calls. So we have fulfilled the requirement of our Native American consultation process required by AB 2022. Subsequently, after a name was selected, we engaged in a public outreach campaign. This included letters via certified mail to all property owners and residents of the subject street. So if they were renters, they were still notified of the proposal. Staff went out in the field and hung door hangers on all properties on that street to provide further notice of the proposal. And lastly, there was a public hearing notice sent to all properties on the street as well as within 300 feet of the subject roadway. All of these attempts at public outreach resulted in 2 emails. One was against the proposal, which you see before you this evening. We received an email that was mostly for clarification, asking if there would be a grace period if the name was changed. And the answer to that, what we determined from the United States Postal Service, is that they will in perpetuity connect the names in their system. So once the name is changed, even if someone gets a piece of mail, if this is approved, if someone got a piece of mail to the old street name, it would still be delivered to the person that lives on that street. So they would still continue to receive mail, although the name would be officially changed. And we had 1 phone call that was largely opposed to the proposed change. So that is the total amount of public input we got on our proposed name from residents. Should this be approved, the next steps that staff will take would be to, again, notice all residents of that street who will be impacted, residents and property owners. They'll be provided a notice of the action taken by the Planning Commission. The certificate of correction the draft that's included in the resolution will be recorded with the San Bernardino County Recorder. This will ensure that we're complying with the spirit of AB 2022 to ensure that the name is removed from all of our maps. Street signs will be replaced at the intersections of Squaw Valley Lane and Red Cloud Lane, as well as at the intersection of Squaw Valley Lane and Softwind Lane. And staff will move to notice all public agencies and utility providers that currently serve those locations. According to the State of California the city is required to adopt a name by August 6th of 2024 and notify them of our updated name change. Beyond that, we have until the end of the calendar year to actually change the street names on the street name placards. With that, staff recommends that the Planning Commission conduct a public hearing, receive testimony regarding the proposed project, and take the following actions. Find the project categorically exempt pursuant to Section 15301C of the California Environmental Quality Act, and adopt resolution number P-24-038, approving case number PLAN 24-00010, subject to the attached conditions of approval. And staff remains available for any questions you may have.
Thank you. Questions from commissioners?
So I gather this is mandated by Assembly Bill 2022. So it's something that we really have to do as a city.
Correct. It is a statewide measure. All cities, counties. Yes.
And on that note, I had the same question. So if this is if this requires removal, then why are we here? Why is the discretionary body who could say yay or nay even making a decision on this?
I think that the state wants the city or the local government that's in charge of the geographic feature or place to engage with the tribes and engage with the public. They want to put that at the local level or whoever may be in charge of that, so they can go through that process of engaging their community to find an appropriate name. If the city, in this case, doesn't change the name, the Assembly Bill calls out that the state can change the name on their own without city input. So it does benefit us to be an active participant in this along with the tribes and have that conversation. So we have a say in what the name ultimately is.
Thanks.
This name, Chuckwalla Lane, was that something that was recommended by one of the tribes or?
Yeah, yes, it was.
Okay, if there's no more questions right now, then I'll open up the public hearing portion. And do we have any cards?
We do not.
Is there anyone here that wants to speak on this item number 3 tonight? Okay, seeing no one, I will close the public hearing on item number 3 for any further discussion, deliberation, and then a motion. Are there any comments for motion?
I move to approve the item as staff recommends.
Second.
I have a first by Commissioner Messin, a second by Commissioner Thomas. We'll take a roll call vote. Commissioner Marsh?
Yes.
Commissioner Messin?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Vice Chair Cook Askins?
Yes.
Chair Kurth?
No.
Motion passes with Chair Kurth voting no.
Thank you. And that moves us on to agenda item number 4, staff report, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. Associate Planner Daisy Kawasaki is the author of this item, and she will provide you a presentation.
Thank you. Good evening, members of the commission. Agenda item number 4 is case number PLAN 24-00011. It is a development plan associated with an existing planned unit development, that's PUD-09-001, to establish design standards for tract 14525, generally located west of and abutting Stoddard Wells Road, south of Interstate 15, and approximately 2,000 feet north of D Street. As outlined in the staff report for this item, tentative tract map 14525 was originally approved in 2009 and has remained active due to various extensions of time over the years. The final possible extension of time was granted last year, which resulted in an expiration date of August 19th of this year for the subject map. The applicant and their team have been working diligently to prepare the map for recordation prior to this fast approaching date. On one of the last remaining outstanding items needed before recordation of this map can take place is the approval of this development plan by the Planning Commission. The development plan works in conjunction with the underlying planned unit development and is responsible for establishing design standards for the homes in the community, landscaping, recreational amenities, including their placement within the tract and construction timing, fence and wall plans, community entry designs, and other such aesthetic regulations. A previous development plan was approved for this project in 2009, but has since expired. The original development plan contained standards to create an enhanced and unique community superior to a typical single-family subdivision. The original development plan established 7 unique villages within the project area, each with its own distinct architectural theme that included larger homes ranging from approximately 2,000 square feet to 3,700 square feet, all with enhanced exterior treatments and materials. Enhanced entry features were also proposed in the original development plan at each perimeter street into the development, as well as into each village. The entries included decorative landscaping elements, neighborhood identification monument signs, and stamped colored concrete. And also noted were recreational amenities throughout the community, including dual-use detention basins with parks, a swimming pool, and a community clubhouse, all to be maintained by a homeowners association. Though what is being presented tonight is more conceptual at this time, the newly proposed development plan maintains the same expectation of higher standards for the development of this community. Conditions of approval have been added to ensure that final design elements are equal to or superior to those originally approved in 2009. Final designs are to be reviewed and approved in a future minor site plan case at the staff level, which is typical of tract build-outs today. This will allow the future developer, who is unknown at this time, to have some input in the final designs with the understanding that the establishment of this development plan sets the expectation for higher level of product, material, and amenities required for this community. With that all being said, staff recommends that the Planning Commission conduct a public hearing, receive testimony regarding the proposed project, and take the following actions. Find the project previously assessed for environmental purposes, and adopt resolution number P-24-040 approving development plan case number PLAN 24-00011, subject to the attached conditions of approval. And staff remain available for any questions you may have.
Thank you, Ms. Kawasaki. Questions for staff from the commission?
Right, I have one. Right now, this is just an idea, right? It's just a plan. There's nothing concrete about this.
It is, it's required by the planned unit development for the tract, and it's required before the tract is set to record that we have to have a planning commission approved development plan in place. They have provided us a conceptual plan. That's the images that we see on the slideshow, mainly pertaining to where the amenities are going to be placed, but the final designs will review during a minor site plan review at the staff level.
Okay, good. No, because I was just looking at I guess the area that's projected. I mean, you have that city county homeless shelter or long-term living shelter in that area. You have the hotel. You have those rundown hotels in that same area, and then you have the dump in that same area. I mean, what's the likelihood of building something like, a nice housing project? Because I mean, you were talking about, having a oh gosh, I lost the name, the word, where you have paid, yeah, okay, HOA. Thanks, Kimberly. But what's the likelihood of something like that really being developed in that area? You have a big apartment complex. The homes in that area have not changed. That little pocket of homes, that's been the same since 1962 that I can remember. This, what's the likelihood of something like that?
I think this development, once the map records the first step, obviously, It will provide an inclusive experience for residents of this neighborhood in that the amenities will be theirs to maintain, to keep, so they won't be able to open to all city residents or absolutely no one who doesn't live there unless they're with a neighbor. And then to some of those items, they are across the river on the other side of the river. So there may be some concern there. I think ultimately, once a developer decides to proceed forward, they'll have to make that assessment. Nothing would stop them if the map should record, and if it stays in just a recorded map phase, nothing would stop them from reverting to acreage in the future should it not be feasible. So our concern as the city and what's reflected in the planning and development is to ensure when it does build that it has these amenities, that it has this level of design and architecture and landscaping, that there is an HOA to make sure that community is up to that higher level in return for the smaller lots that were previously approved.
Oh, good. Okay. All right. Thank you.
And then there's already road improvements in place that were approved prior, correct?
That is correct. Street improvements were conditioned as part of the original approval.
Thank you.
I was just going to ask, on kind of that same note. So this is just the PUD requirement to get to the next stage. Now, I can't remember. Would this be a final map or a tentative map?
It's in tentative map stage now. The final map is preparing to record. They're actively in plan check.
So they are going towards a final map, which usually once somebody does a final map, then there's timelines on that. That usually means people start building. Is that correct?
It kind of depends on developer to developer. I think some, depending on their financing plan, it could mean that. Some maps we've seen recorded and sat undeveloped for years. So yeah, I don't believe the owner now intends to develop it. I believe their intent is to sell it to a developer.
What's the time frame then? Like if it went on market and waiting to look for a developer, how long would this map be good for till it needed to be either extended or canceled or whatever?
If the map doesn't record, or if the map is not in a position to record as determined by our city engineer on August 19th, the map will expire.
But then once it records, and now people could come in and pull building permits, in essence, how long is that time frame?
There is no time frame on that. Once the map records and there are legal lots that are created, there's no time frame.
So they don't have to build within a certain time.
Correct. There's no requirement.
Okay. All right. And assuming someone comes in and says, hey, we want to build this project or phase it out or whatever ends up happening, tonight we're putting in place all of these amenities and like the clubhouse and pocket parks and all the things we've seen there, but there is flexibility at the staff level. How much flexibility? For example, if it says, hey, there's going to be a clubhouse with a pool, they can't just change that up. Would the flexibility just be the design of the clubhouse and the layout of the pool? Or could they say no clubhouse, no pool, we want to do a park instead?
That's a great question. The reason this is here is to at least set the standard for what those amenities are. So as a staff, as a zoning administrator, we would not allow the removal of the clubhouse and the pool as an equal amenity, anything improving the community. Obviously, if they wanted to remove a park and put in another clubhouse and another pool, we would probably see that as an improvement and could
elevation.
Correct, and could do that at the staff level. But if it were requested to be removed, there would be not only approval by the planning commission, but there would also need to be an amendment to the planning and development, because many of those amenities are called out, including their installation schedule and by what home they need to be installed for the big amenities like the clubhouse. So this ensures that the things like the clubhouse or the pool aren't pushed off till the last 10 homes, at which point it may become unfeasible for the last developer to come and build them. There is protections in place within the planning and development to ensure that they get done, and then no more homes are allowed to proceed until that amenity is in, to make sure it actually gets built.
Okay. And then there's conditions in there that this is going to be an HOA type community. And was there any talk? I didn't see it in here. Any discussion or talks or any reason to talk about it today that it should or shouldn't be gated? A gated community, HOA?
I'm going back a little bit in my memory here because I was the original planner on this. While they will own their amenities and be responsible for maintenance of some of the drainage facilities, the streets will still be public. So I believe the discussion at that time revolved around gating it and making the streets private versus public. So nothing would prevent them from coming in to request that in the future if they so desire to do that.
Okay, yeah, because there's a lot of times and place for that. I think that makes sense, but it kind of depends when this happens and what those folks want. And I kind of like this when I was looking at this last time. And then I drive Stoddard Wells quite a bit. I like that area. It's kind of the one of the few areas in Victorville, I think, where you've kind of got some views. You're kind of up above the Mojave River there a little bit. You're in between those mountains and the hills there of Apple Valley, and you can't be any closer to the freeway, but still kind of isolated back in there. So I like it, and I like the all the HOA stuff that the amenities that have been worked out there with staff. Any other questions before we open the public hearing portion? Okay, I'll open the public hearing on item number 4. Is there an applicant or representative here tonight? Welcome, and I think a few of these questions could have been addressed to you as well, but you're welcome to speak to us, and we may have a couple of questions if you have anything for us.
Family that owns the property. We've done it for many, many years, and we're happy to get a hearing, finally get it approved.
Okay.
I've read the conditions of approval, and we approve.
Okay. And what are your thoughts on getting this out there for a developer? Have you seen interest, or you think it'll happen in
There's
next few years?
There's a lot of interest in the property. The issue is we have to have a lot of import to make it work.
Mm-hmm.
So, the mathematics maybe aren't there right today, but they will be in the future. What we're trying to do is trying to protect our entitlements and get the maps recorded, so that when the market is in tune with what we have to do to improve the property, then it's ready to go. And as far as the homeless camp, we look at that as, as, I can't say beneficial, but is better, because most of those people were living in the river. And so now it clears them out, hopefully, and so everybody can live in harmony. But it's far enough away that, I don't think it's going to be an issue.
Any questions for the applicant? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any speaker cards?
We do not.
Okay, then I will close the public hearing, and I'll bring that back to the commission for determination.
I move for approval of staff's recommendation.
I second.
I have a first by Commissioner Thomas, a second by Commissioner Messin. I'll take a roll call vote. Commissioner Marsh,
Yes.
Commissioner Messin,
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas, Vice Chair Cook Askins,
Yes.
Chair Kurth.
Yes,
Motion passes unanimously.
that is passed. Good luck on moving forward. That wraps up our agenda items for tonight. We'll end by any final presentations from the commission. We can start with Commissioner Thomas. Anything?
No, except to say that I'm sure glad that we had cooling centers in the city here this last week. As I drove through the city, I had my granddaughter with me, and she said, "Grandpa, I don't see any birds. I don't see any people. I don't see anybody on the street." I said, "You don't see anything?" She said, "No, not even butterflies." So I say that to say this, that there are people out there that I did see, with blankets and so forth over their heads and everything. But at least we had facilities here in the city available, if they wanted to use them. But I also want to thank and congratulate staff on the promotions, well deserved. And we look forward to working with you in your new roles. Thank you.
Commissioner Cook Askins?
Yes, congratulations to the staff on their promotions, and the projects this evening are great enhancements for our great city.
And I agree, and I failed to mention, Ms. Kawasaki, do you have a new title or position?
No, I'm just warming Travis Clark's seat. He'll be the
Okay.
one typically sitting up here.
Well, I wasn't exactly sure, and I didn't want to leave you out if there was a change there, but thanks for being here tonight. That's all I have.
No, just the same thing. Congratulations on your promotions and look forward to working with y'all. We'll continue to work together.
Commissioner Metzen?
I had the opportunity to go on the Victorville bus tour, and I just wanted to say I thought it was marvelous. It provided an insight to some of the work that gets done that we don't get to see, and the fun facts. It was very informative and interactive. So I hope it's something that the city considers bringing back. I personally enjoyed it and saw residents on it as well, and just wanted to congratulate you three as well.
Okay. And any reports or notices from staff?
Yes, first of all, thank you all for your kind words. I appreciate that. A busy calendar coming up in the next month. Concerts in the Park are ongoing this month at Hook Park. On July 12th, we have Acme Time Machine, which is an oldies band. And on July 19th, we have Southbound and Company, which is a classic rock band. National Night Out is taking place on Tuesday, August 6th. That will be at Sunset Ridge Park from 5 to 8 p.m. I would also like to update the Planning Commission on a grant that city staff applied for with recommendation from the public and the Planning Commission. Staff did put in an application for the Department of Justice Tobacco Grant Program. We requested an amount of approximately $127,000 to aid in the inspection process. Should that ordinance be adopted, we expect the award selection to conclude in October. And lastly, personally and on behalf of the Planning Department, I would like to thank Mr. Webb for his years of leadership and guidance, and we hope to make you proud.
Great. Well, thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful and hopefully cool evening. Meeting adjourned.